Decision, decision, decision. You and I make them every single day. But how many decisions do we make a day? Some studies suggest we make roughly 35,000 decisions a day. Sounds a little crazy, right? Whether or not we believe that number, there's one thing we can agree on. We would love to take a break from making them. But since we can't escape it, why not make the most out of it? What if I told you there's a way to train yourself into becoming a decision making Giga Chad? Before I share you with the actionable steps, I want to share an experiment that was conducted back in 1957 that involved drowning rats. Now, if you're sensitive towards animal cruelty, I recommend not watching the video. But trust me, there's something to take out of this experiment, and hopefully, you start to trust the process and be a little bit easier on yourself moving forward. So in 1957, a man by the name of Kurt Paul Richter conducted an experiment involving drowning rats, both domesticated and wild rats. Their first series of tests was run on a group of domesticated rats. The test involved a jar of water and 12 rats. 3 out of the 12 rats swam for 15 minutes before they end up dying. The 9 rats swam for an average of 40 to 60 hours before they end up dying as well. One of the questions this raises was, why is there a huge discrepancy between 3 of those rats and 9 of those rats? 15 minutes versus 2.5 days essentially. What made 9 of those rats kept going and what made the other 3 give in so easily? Was it because of the temperature of the water? Was it because they're domesticated and weren't wild? What was it really? Was it because 9 of them believed that they can get out of this situation while the other 3 just simply gave up because they did not have hope? So they decided to conduct the experiment now on the wild rats. There's 34 of them. To their surprise, and I'm also surprised by this too, every single one of them died within 15 minutes. The disparity between the domesticated rats and the wild rats was surprising because you would assume that the wild rats, being in harsher living environments, that they will end up finding a way to survive, right? But they all gave up within 15 minutes. And why is that exactly? The flight or fight should have kicked in, right? But that didn't happen. They just died. So finally they did the last series of tests. This time they let the rats swim, and while the rats were about to give up, they grabbed the rats out of the water, dry them up, make them feel safe again, and then they put them back into the jar and let them swim again. They kept doing this over and over so that the rats will feel like they will survive no matter what, as long as they continue swimming. Now, by doing this, they instill hope into the rat. How long do you think the rats swam this time? 40 to 60 hours, just like the original 9 rats. The interesting thing they found is that by instilling more and more hope into these rats, that they would go on days and days before exhaustion. The study concluded, a phenomenon of sudden death has been described that occurs in man, rats, and many other animals, apparently as a result of hopelessness. In other words, just because you're alive doesn't mean you're living. And if you're like me, I know you have felt doubt and worries before about your future and things that are out of your control, or it feels like things are out of your control. And dare I say, you feel hopeless at times before as well. If there is anything to take out of this story, then that there is hope for you and that you can train yourself to have more hope in yourself and more belief in yourself. So how do you do that exactly, right? I believe in less is more. There's no need to overcomplicate your life. Why do that, right? Everything is about healthy balance. So instead of making a huge change to your lifestyle, start small. The reason why starting small is good is because it's sustainable long term. The more you accomplish a goal, big or small, the more likely it is that you will feel better about yourself, the more that you will believe in yourself. And this doesn't happen necessarily in the conscious sense, but it happens subconsciously. Like your brain started to interpret that like, hey, I'm not that bad of a person. Hey, I don't suck that bad. I can continue going. I believe in myself. You give yourself the belief based on your action. The more belief you have in yourself, the more hope you will have for yourself, and as a result, you will end up living a better life. It's like a whole compound effect. Everything is interconnected, so it starts small and it will add up over time. I recommend starting with going outside. I know it's simple. I know you might think that, hey, how does walking outside actually help me become a better person or become more hopeful or work towards my goals, right? But think about it. When you go for a walk and you aim for 10,000 steps a day, say right now you don't walk that much. You only walk like 1,000, 3,000 steps on average. Try to get it close to 10,000 steps, right? The way I do is I walk in the morning, I walk during lunch, and I walk after dinner. That equates to about 8 to 10,000 steps a day for me. Before I started doing this, like clarity wasn't there in my life. Now it is. I see things a lot clearer. I understand myself more. And when I say go outside, I don't mean go to work. I don't mean go grocery shopping. I literally mean go outside, enjoy the presence of life. Don't listen to music. Don't listen to podcasts. You can do that as well. Maybe for 1 out of the 3 walks that you do, or like 2 out of 3 walks you do. But at least have one of those walks where you do nothing but just walk and enjoy the presence around you. Say you might not be able to start off walking every single day, but at least do it once a week or twice a week, right? You can make time to walk. You don't need to walk for 10 to 15 minutes a day, and just break them up into chunks of pieces of session, right? Each session that you do, you're investing in yourself. You don't just stop there after you're able to walk consistently, and then you don't even start thinking about it anymore. You start to notice that you're gonna pick up other habits as well. Start small. I'm gonna keep saying that over and over. Start small and keep it simple. Stick to the plan, and you would notice that not only will you start feeling better, but you will start seeing things clearly. You're gonna get to a point where it becomes like a habit, become a second nature to you, that if you don't go for a walk, you will start feeling out of it. You will feel bad about yourself, and then you start walking again. At some point, you're gonna stop giving up, because you've done this so many times in the past. You've been walking consistently, and then you took like a small break, and then you start feeling negative about yourself that you can't stick to things. But then you just remind yourself, like, look back, hey, I've gotten so far from where I started, so why can't I go further? You only live once, so why not believe in yourself? This little exercise helped me a lot, and I'm still in the journey of improving, and I've seen that walking consistently has improved my life, and I hope that it does for you as well. And at the end of the day, your action is what you are. You are your action. So if you want to change who you are, change your action, which will end up changing your habit, which will end up changing your life. And it's that simple. I know I keep saying that it's simple, but it's simple in concept, but it actually takes a lot of commitment and discipline to stick to it. So just make a plan for yourself, stick to it, don't overdo it. Keep it at the pace that you believe you can adhere to, and try to keep that promise with yourself, your internal self, and you will start noticing change. The whole idea is to make less decision out of your day, but the decision that you do make them count, right? Because we're already making so many. Why try to make every single one count when you can just make the one that matters count? All right. So if you guys enjoyed this video and you find it helpful and you want to see more videos like this, then remember to leave a comment down below and subscribe. And always remember, don't forget yesterday, plan for tomorrow, and live for today. Peace.